Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Creator Codes. Today's episode is going to be so powerful, and I want to let you know that there's certain things I am moving through in my life, and that's typically how I decide upon which episode to put out. Because if it's really relevant in my life, I can speak to it with more examples, grounded examples, how I'm in real time moving through, and how I can share these things. Like, I know it's this, all of this is not happening just for me, through me right now. I'm seeing so many signs and synchronicities that right now there's a major healing when it comes to the masculine in the collective. And so I just wanted to reflect for you guys my experience of what's happening right now. And, you know, there's some personal things in here, of course, but that's what you get on this podcast. I don't really hold anything back. And the theme here, I mean, just the name of this episode, Pedestals and Power, rewriting my relationship with the masculine. So you'll relate to this if you've also been healing or holding and noticing deep patterns when it comes to masculine energy, when it comes to putting people on pedestals, or how you respond to people who you see as in power. And also, I'll be talking about commitment and a realization that I had just today about this word and how it relates to my life and myself, and how I've always had that story that I'm not good at commitment or I have commitment issues. And it was something that I kind of moved through a little bit a few years ago with my ex, breaking up with my ex, realizing I did not actually have commitment issues, but now I'm seeing it in a very different way. So let's get into it. So when it comes to certain patterns that I've noticed, I have notes here that I'm referencing, and what has happened in my life. And I know there are going to be some people that relate, and I would love to hear from you if this episode resonates, as always. But a really, really big pattern that I've noticed in my life, and maybe you guys have heard me talk about it on my stories or when I go live on Instagram. That's typically when I give you kind of some of the juice from my life. I don't really put it on my feed necessarily, but more behind the scenes and people that really show up to my lives and when I'm doing collective readings in that type of space. So the patterns are first being drawn to externally powerful men, people that have fame, people that make an impact, and people that have status. So I said that slowly: externally powerful men. And I want to let you know this is all kind of a symbol, right? The way that we see other people, the way that we see our parents, our mother, our father, that truly can be a reflection of certain feminine and masculine energies that we are still holding, that we're still working through, not necessarily continuously feeding into, like not necessarily an energy that we are presently contributing to, but it could be something. This is what I talked about in the episode about the law of reflections and how the past can move through your present. So that's an important episode to listen to first. So make sure you listen to that, because that's what I'm talking about here is, in a way, it's a part of it. When we see certain things, and I've realized so much, even just about my mom and my dad, just today. And it's just because I'm getting ready for this episode, and I was like, whoa, this is wild what is moving through me right now. And it's helping me realize more about the way that I see my parents, because the way that you see, especially a mom and a dad, or caretakers that, you know, have made an impact on you in your life from early on, that masculine and feminine energy is being reflected to you of what is potentially still in your field. So the things I'm noticing about my mom and my dad are definitely reflecting these patterns that I'm releasing right now. And it's pretty effing powerful. So that is the first one, being drawn to externally powerful men. And then the next one is overriding my own intuition and needs. Basically just favoring others, needs and wants and whatever it is that they're saying instead of whatever I'm saying internally. So again, very much more so focusing on the external, what people are saying, what they want, what they need, versus even thinking or talking about my own. The next one is a fawning response, either staying too long, whether it's in a relationship, or for me, I'll get into some examples with a particular mentor that I had who was a masculine energy that I looked up to. Over giving, justifying their behavior when it's out of line. Okay. The next one is, it's a commitment twist, because today I was really reflecting on what I was saying earlier about commitment. And I thought I feared commitment in the past. And I thought that it was something that, I don't know, I guess I was thinking of it as more of a black and white. But I've been deeply committed to others. I've been committed to their potential. I've been committed to their needs. I've been committed to their path. But I have not been fully committed to myself. So this brings up a conversation that I had with a client about trusting yourself or not trusting yourself. And it's not about, it's rewiring like how we see ourselves, because it's not that I have any commitment issues. And like I said, I kind of dealt with that in the past, but there's so many layers, as we know, right? And this commitment, I'm realizing, was totally there. I just looked at it as I don't have commitment issues, but I kind of actually did, because the issue was that not that I was not committed, it was just that I was committed to what others wanted from me or out of their own lives. So that kind of blew my mind today. I was like, I've been committed, but not to myself. I've been committed to other people's paths and helping them and trying to heal them and like committed to committed to the other people's needs, right? And I also, lastly, as far as patterns and naming them that I've noticed, is I've been loyal to the idea of love, depth, and power. Like loyal to the idea of love, of depth, and of power, but not yet anchored into my own wholeness first. I'm saying that slowly because it means a lot. It has a lot of meaning here, and it could be symbolic and, reflective for you. I've been loyal to the idea of love, of depth, of power, but I have not anchored into my own wholeness first. And that is why when I don't see my own wholeness, other people are going to see me as someone who, could be a side piece or, someone that they don't really want to commit to, because if I'm not fully committing to myself and I'm committing to things outside of me externally, then my energy is not a match for someone to fully commit to me if I'm not doing that for myself. It doesn't matter if I'm fully committing to someone else. If I'm not committing to myself, then no one else can actually fully and wholeheartedly commit to me, because my energy will not allow it. My creator field will not allow it. So let me give you some real life examples of kind of all of all that, like, this is bringing up. I gotta take a sip of water. Okay. So like I mentioned, I had a coach, and I adore him, and I still appreciate him to this day because of all that he has opened up for me. Honestly, like, he really started off my path of deeper healing, like truly seeing myself in a new way, opening my eyes to new perspectives, and I am forever grateful. So I'm not here to talk badly about anyone, poorly about anyone. This is just reflections of my life and how they have shown me, especially right now, more of myself, and where I was actually not committing to myself, not seeing myself as powerful. So I had a coach who immediately when we started working together, the first session we had, he told me that, his coaching was very much based on truth, telling the truth. He found that to be, and it is true. It's very foundational to make sure you're honest, especially, with the people that you're working with closely or that you have relationships with closely. And he admitted to me in our first session that he was attracted to me. And that shook me because I was not expecting that, first of all, for him to just come out and say that. And second of all, to me, that almost implanted an idea that he wanted me and that he wants to choose me. And so this idea that I've created, this story that I created about his attraction to me, led me to making choices that my higher self knew I would do it. I had to go through that experience. But ultimately, if I really slowed down and listened to my intuition, it would have told me to not fawn so much. I fawned over him. And I ended up signing up for a course for him. It was I didn't even think about it. I said to him, it's a no-brainer. Of course, I'm in, and it's $1,500, which it didn't feel like a big deal to do that with him. And it's so interesting to see that in myself when now I'm the one who's holding programs and asking money for, for people to join. And I have this type of energy. I don't know. I don't like to use the word block, but we can use it. This type of energy block in my field that's not allowing people to see the value in what I'm offering. And it's because, once again, what is that reflection? I'm not seeing that value in myself. I see it more so in other people. That's what's shifting. So it's interesting how just because there was some sort of potential for me and this coach to be together, I was thinking, okay, literally I created an entire story, and my thing has been all about fantasization. And that's been a pattern that I've been breaking as well, to add to the list of just complete fantasy, not seeing these people for who they are, but who I just kind of creating the ultimate masculine when there's someone that is slightly more powerful than me, or maybe, seemingly more externally more powerful than me, or more famous than me, all of these things, I have put them on a pedestal. And then if there's any kind of sign that they like me, it's I have lost myself in just feeling okay, this is it. And then that's where the fawning comes from. That's where the making the choices that are not really aligned with my intuition comes from. And so therefore, just with the way that I do not listen to my intuition, I make it not possible for these men to even be able to be with me. Because these are men, well, at least this coach was, a high quality man who I love what he teaches, and he really changed my life. He opened me up, my heart and my chakras, and it was beautiful. But I lost myself in the fantasy of him. And I can't blame it on him for telling me the truth. And I'm not going to blame it on myself either, because I did the best that I could, and I had to go through this to learn about myself. And now that I have, I'm realizing, it was no one's fault here, but this is just showing me how much of a deeply ingrained pattern I was living through, especially for someone that it was a masculine energy. I mean, even coaching, he was holding a container for me. Just that in general is a masculine energy. Even if I had a coach who was a woman, it's still kind of a masculine, a container where we show up, even if it's on Zoom. It's a container to allow my feminine to flow through and to be healed and all of these things. So it was just a lot of masculine energy. And that was the first time something like that really happened with being more of an awakened woman. And it's so interesting to look back at myself now because I'm like, damn, I've come so far, even just a couple of years. But that's just one example. Another example, I've talked about him before, but he is, I don't know if he's still the number one UK R&B artist. Like, it's kind of mind-blowing when I think about it. But it's interesting how my energy field welcomed him in, but it also pushed him out. So he showed me, and like the reflections go deeper than just what I have off in my field, because also pulling in these incredible men and like having them tell me they're attracted to me or wanting to take me to dinner, like that's cool. There's something in my energy field that's also attracting that, but it's the sustainable, committed, which is my masculine energy. Because my feminine, beautiful, flowy, whatever energy can pull them in, but my masculine energy can push them right out, right? Because that's what the masculine energy is more. It's more forceful, even if it's unconscious. If my masculine energy from within is really unstable and it's like not grounded, it could unconsciously push other people away, because as a reflection, if I'm unstable or if I'm not committed to myself, which is masculine, then masculine energies are not going to be committed or want to have a stable foundation, build a stable foundation with me. So this incredible R&B artist, he's coming out with a new album soon. I'm so excited for it. When I connected with him, I had so much fun. I just remember chatting with him and it was so fun. It felt refreshing and incredible. But I noticed there wasn't a depth. Like, I wanted to know him more. I wanted him to know me more. And it just left me craving a deeper type of connection. And so I ended up pushing him away because I basically told him, like, everything that I was feeling. Like, yo, of course I'm attracted to you. Like, you know, and I just kind of spilled it. Like, it felt like it was a little bit of a messy energy that I spilled out to him, and it did not leave him wanting more from me because I just spilled it out. It was just too much. And I'm not telling myself or shaming myself for being too much, but the energy was too much for him because my masculine energy was not containing my feminine. It was just spilling out all over. And so in turn, law of polarity, he pulled it back because I took up too much space for him to be able to come in and hold that space for myself because I couldn't hold it for myself. Okay, so that's another example. Another one, this is actually wild. So this happened last night. This is crazy, you guys. Like, I swear to God, my life is like a sci-fi movie, and there's so many other examples. There's some big ones I do not want to bring to the table here today, just because I'm not going to be revealing certain people and certain things. But here's another one. Lastly, this last example here is an old friend. This is wild, you guys. Okay, sorry. I'm still processing. That's why I love to post or to record these when I'm like in it, because a lot of times we hear these things kind of after the fact and it's not as like right now the energy feels potent AF. So I've been really doing a lot of deep healing with masculine energy, especially the past week. And this includes masculine energy is also like my business, like grounding in my business. It's financial. It's like the Pentacles energy in tarot, right? It's financial, it's abundance, it's your relationship with abundance, it's being able to hold abundance. And so yesterday I actually dealt with my finances pretty deeply. I spent all day doing that. And it's just hilarious because I knew once I did that, something would open up energetically, something would shift when it comes to my own masculine energy because I'm taking care of business. I'm not like waiting around, damsel in distress, like waiting for an outside energy to fix it. I did it myself. So I knew something would shift. I did this yesterday, okay? Literally right after I was done. I'm not even kidding you. It was right when I finished. I get a text, I get a call. And it's from someone that I have not spoken to for many years. I'm talking, I think maybe 6 years. Wait, 6, 7, maybe 7. I think it was 7 years about. Wow. 7-year cycles. Wow. Okay. Holy shite. So 7 years ago was the last time I saw this man. He actually drove me down to Florida when I moved there. And he was a friend for years when I lived in New Hampshire. And we always had a thing for each other, but we never worked together. He always had a girlfriend, or even when he didn't have a girlfriend, there was like something in him that could not commit to me. Does this sound familiar? He just couldn't. Like, he was a little bit of a wreck, and I don't want to say that judgmentally, but a lot of masking feelings and alcohol, maybe, I don't know, maybe some drugs. It might have been prescription, but you know what I mean. So it was that type of energy, but like we still had this deep like connection that was kind of unspoken. But when he drove me down to Florida, when I moved away from New Hampshire, I lived in New Hampshire for about 7 years. Talking about frickin' 7-year cycles. Wow. I gave him a letter, and it was pages and pages long, telling him that I loved him. Like, I had never done anything like that in my life. But I was like, you know what? And of course, why would I do this when I'm moving away? I'm like leaving. But I think a part of me just wanted the masculine to chase me, to come after me, to choose me, right? So I just spilled it all out once again, just spilling it all out, pages and pages and pages. Mind you, I don't think we've ever said I like you or I like you. I like you to each other, let alone I love you. And so I wrote him this letter, and so who calls me yesterday, the moment I'm done with my taxes and all of the money stuff I was dealing with? This guy. He calls me. We talk on the phone for 2 hours. I don't find that to be an accident with the timing. Like, I knew something was going to shift. I thought it was going to be more so in my business as far as like people signing up or booking readings with me, opening up more of that secure container for people to enter into. But I didn't realize, because I've been doing all of this healing with the masculine all week, for the past week or so, deeply, like way more deeply than I have in a very long time, getting to layers I haven't gotten to before that I didn't even realize were so tender, or like not even tender. I don't know, just it was ready for me to dive into that. And so I've done a lot of beautiful healing. And so after I manage my money, this guy, he calls me. It's been 7 years since I've talked to him. And we just kind of left it in a weird way. I don't know. I gave him the letter, and it was kind of like, that's that. Heard from him once in a while for a year maybe. So it's been a long time, you guys. And so this goes to show how powerful your energy field is when you do that deep healing, and how it actually can help clear out these things from the past, because he was someone who literally was not emotionally available for me, but I still fed my energy into him, right? Regardless of my intuition was telling me. So last night on the phone, he literally was like, I'm going to pay to take you on vacation. We're going, like, let's go on vacation in 2 weeks, by the way. And I was like, oh my God, okay. Just like, that's exciting. And he's like, all right, I'm going to book it. Where are you going to fly out of? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, hold on a second. Like, I need the night to think about it. He's like, no, you don't. Let's just go. And I was like, you have to respect me and let me sleep on this. Okay. And I'm like, you need to also sleep on it, dude. He's like, don't call me dude. Okay. Anyways. So and even today I was like, should I go? Because it's a free vacation. But let me tell you something. I took a free all expenses paid trip before. And this man ended up being, have you ever heard of draconians? Basically, and I don't like to call people narcissists, but he's the closest person I've ever met to a fully embodied narcissist from everything that I've read and heard. Like, I'm talking not just saying that, when people say like, oh my God, he's such a narcissist. I'm talking if he were to go to a psychologist that was legit, he would be diagnosed as a narcissist. And a covert one, because he's a public figure. This is a different person, a public figure. And I realized I thought he was reptilian, but something a little different. It's crazy. You guys, my life is like a sci-fi movie. I'm not even kidding you. And so that was an all expense paid trip, but I left there feeling more anxious, less connected to myself. And it was because if I really tuned into my intuition, I would not have gone and been flown out to stay with him for 3 nights or 4 nights. I don't even know how long it was. It was too long, but it felt like a dungeon, even though his house was beautiful. All of these things, where he lived, beautiful. All expenses paid, beautiful, right? Like all of these things, it's all external. So when we let the external dictate our decisions, that is when, like, I left that trip feeling more disconnected from myself because I was not listening to my intuition. I didn't realize his energy was actually trying to manipulate me. He was trying to fuck up my mind. Like, intentionally. I realize that now. It took me some time. I was still attached. Because of his status, the external. So you see all of these examples, and there's more that have been coming up recently. I'm not going to get into all of them, but that's enough. I don't want to spill every last detail of my life, but to really show you what I've been moving through when it comes to the masculine. This is all in the past year, besides this guy coming up just last night. Basically, all of these things that happened were invitations to see how much of my own energy I was giving and not receiving. And I wasn't receiving that's the feminine. It was like my feminine energy was crushed because of the masculine energy I was only allowing to be external with these men, the status, the power, whatever. And putting all of my efforts, all of my energy into these men will maybe save me, they'll pay for me, they'll whatever, give me something. But I wasn't able to give to myself. I wasn't able to receive from myself. I wasn't even able to receive from them. You see how it just clogs it up when we don't listen to our intuition and we just allow these external circumstances to dictate our decisions. So I decided today, fuck that. I'm not going on that trip. I'm not going on that trip. He was emotionally unavailable for me. He never responded to that love letter. And I intuitively can feel his energy over the phone. I even asked him, have you healed? He said, what's that mean? And I really am not trying to judge anyone, but I'm just really pointing out the energy that's in my field to reflect back to me what is no longer a match and what I am no longer a stand for. And even though this guy that called me last night is not someone like the past 3 guys who I really put on pedestals, I did put him on a pedestal because it was like this unattainable energy. He was emotionally unavailable. So I put that on a pedestal of it could be me that changes him. And just putting all of me aside to help change someone or help someone choose me. So interesting, right? And so all of this has happened now as iterations of what pattern was actually implanted in me as a child. So I was the golden child. I was the caretaker. I was the second mother. I feared my dad's energy. There was some sort of underlying fear. And I gave this example in a reel that I posted the other day about how he shaved his head one day And I ran away from my house as if there was some scary man who I didn't know in my house. And that right there is a little mini reflection of the energy that I held or I related to, even as a child, with the masculine. There's like a fear there. And because of this, love and love and intimidation were intertwined. And that created confusion around what safe masculine energy looks like. Because for some reason, which is all of this that I'm explaining, these men that have these intimidating statuses, or they're out there and they intimidate me in some way, it's like my nervous system confuses it for safety or for like something that I want to obtain or like be a part of. So that's where my commitment wound started. Is I was in my childhood, I was committed to keeping the peace. I was committed to caretaking, and I was committed to managing others' emotions over my own truth. So that's where the commitment, quote unquote, issues started. I've been committed, but just to other people's energies and making sure everything around me in the external is stable, which is actually in turn causing my internal masculine energy to be very unstable, because it's whatever happens out there, I react and respond. It's not me, what is this called? Creator codes. It's not me creating, it's me reacting and responding to a hot, sexy man, to someone who's kind of intimidating, but really cool, has awesome status, and me just like dropping everything to be there for that person. But it was a mask of like being there for that person. It was like, it was just leaving me and being a little, I don't know, puppet or something fun, or just like, I don't know, whatever they're going through as well in their lives, a symbol for them too. And I allowed myself to be karmic type of stuff. And we don't have to be a part of other people's karma if we listen to our intuition. Sometimes it's necessary, but a lot of times it's not. All of these things, I'm not saying it was not necessary, but I'm not saying it was necessary either. It's certain things that like we can learn without having to go through these experiences. And I mean, part of it is a little traumatizing with what has gone on with these men, certain ones, maybe one in particular. And I don't have to keep re-experiencing that trauma that literally was originally created in my childhood. Now it's my time to break that pattern. I'm also noticing certain decisions my mom has made, which is mirroring for me certain patterns of having breadcrumb type of connections, emotional unavailability, tolerance for low standards. And I'm not saying anything badly about my mom at all, but I just wanted to share that our moms and our dads, how we perceive them, is most of the time a reflection of our own masculine and feminine energy. And it doesn't have to be something right now. It could be something, like I said, I've moved on from, I'm moving through. It's not something I'm continuing to perpetuate. But if you're really triggered by certain decisions that your mom or dad are making, that can be a very big indication of where you're being led to focus on healing or transmuting energy in your own masculine and energy fields. So, here are the lessons and what is shifting. My power does not come from how close I am to someone else's platform. It's within me. I don't need someone else. I don't need someone else's pedestal to step on, right? I have all of this power within me. That power within me is very different than external looking power. Because after getting to know these guys, I'm not saying they're bad people at all, but they may not be all that the society or people staring at them and just following them on social media like believe them to be or know them to be. It revealed a lot of behind the scenes. And it just goes to show that a lot of times things are really, really shiny online, right? And how they're presenting themselves. All of the prestige, all of the power. But in fact, a lot of times that there's a lot of weakness inside. And maybe it's like a reflection of they called me into their lives because I had this wounded energy, and maybe there's something in them that was, attracted to that wounding. Okay. Another thing, my intuition is sacred and never wrong. This has been a big lesson. It always is. And there's always more levels to intuition. There's always more levels. Because as long as we're here on earth, there's more to learn, there's more to grow from, there's more to unlearn. And the more that we shed, that's no longer us, or that never has been us, and we just picked up these patterns, when we shed that, our intuition comes online more and more. And there's an innate connection, a deep connection. When you heal certain traumas, your intuition literally can work, period, and better. But if there's so many programs running through, it's almost like clogging up your body and your nervous system as a conduit for the divine. Because we're holding on to, I guess, darkness, so to speak. And I'm not saying darkness is bad, but it kind of can clog up the light from moving through in a way that allows you to really receive these clear downloads and information. Another lesson is I can walk away even if I once idealized the connection. Just like last night, I got the invitation to go on vacation. I have not told him yet today, but I will. I'm not going, dude, and I will call him dude. Maybe I won't. I don't want to try to trigger anyone, but just because I wrote him a love letter and idealized the connection does not mean it is for me. By walking away, it is actually claiming my own internal power. Another thing is I'm no longer available for half love, for emotional crumbs, or spiritual bypassing disguised as truth. Very interesting how there's been such a theme. And I didn't realize how far it went back until this guy called me last night. So I'm no longer available for that. And maybe you resonate with that as well. It's just powerful to claim. And now I have this refined idea of what commitment really is. I am now committed fully, deeply, and fiercely to myself. I've always been committed, but now I'm shifting where I've been committed to, and now it's to me. Powerful. So here's some closing reflections for you to maybe journal on or just to leave you with here. So, where have you been committing to others more than to your own heart? And just sit with that for a moment. Ask yourself, where have I been committing to myself? Where have I been committing to others more than I have committed to my own heart, to my own soul path and soul pull? And see what comes up. Another thing, loyalty. Have you been loyal to your patterns or to your truth? So that's something to ask yourself and to reflect on. Have I been loyal to my patterns or to my truth? And a lot of times when we just take a moment to reflect on this, just like it's happening with me, it's like, wow, I really have been so loyal to my patterns, but they are breaking this week, you guys, this past week. They are shredding, they're dissolving. They're dissolving because they're just not true. It's not who I am. But I was pretending to be someone for someone else. Next little reflection for you is, what would it feel like to walk away from the pedestal and walk toward yourself? So if there's anyone you've been pedestaling, it could be just masculine energies in general. Maybe it's celebrities, like it was me my whole life, pedestaling people with fame and perceived power. What would it feel like to walk away from the pedestal and walk toward myself? And see what comes up. And I just wanted to remind you that this is not about blaming yourself for where you have been wrong. It's about a devotion to your own becoming, to your own unbecoming journey. And this is deep work. But it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to cause suffering to do this work. It could be a little painful, but it doesn't mean you have to suffer. Because it's going to reveal things that will actually set you free and release any kind of suffering that has been living underneath the surface. And I just found this episode to be so powerful. Oh my God. I just feel so giddy because I do feel more grounded in my own masculine energy, just even from the conversation last night to the decision I made today. Literally in real time, people were working through this. This whole past week, I've been, shedding some tears and making these realizations and making new commitments to myself, financial stuff, right? It's all intertwined with our energy in our creator field. And so now my creator field is at a place where people do want to book with me. And I guarantee it. I guarantee there's going to be more opportunity. I have brands reaching out to me to work with them just very recently, this past week. It's all shifting and it can shift very fast. So if you've been feeling stuck, if you've been feeling like you've been in a healing loop, know that is not, there's something that's underneath the surface that's not true. And you're just being called to reveal that to yourself and be honest with yourself about, I don't know, maybe the illusions or lies that you've been feeding into when it comes to the way you've responded. It doesn't have to be just to men, but masculine energy. And feminine energy too, for goodness sake. But for this strong example, for what's going on in the collective right now, there's a healing that is happening on a massive scale with masculine energy. I revealed a lot today from my personal life, but it's because I care so much and I know that real life examples help. It helps us connect the dots. As humans, we learn through storytelling. And that's why I'm never afraid to share my story. I'm never going to do so, regardless of what other people feel. Like I'm not going to just reveal anyone and everything and anyone. We got some boundaries here. # healthy masculine energy. But I'm always here to give you those real life examples. So if you enjoyed this episode today, please like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever it is you can do to get the word out there. And I also wanted to let you know I have a class coming up. It's $55, baby. And it's on Monday, April 21st at 3 p.m. PST, 2025, just in case you're listening to this in another year or two or whenever. It is a timeless message, but this workshop that's coming up, it's going to be so powerful. It is called Creator Codes Manifestation Activation. And everything that I've been moving through, I swear, whenever I create a class, I have certain things happen in my life so my energy can show up fully and wholeheartedly to share things that will be life-changing for you. Yes, for only $55. And yes, I will send out the recording. So please join in. We don't have a lot of people signed up. All right. The masculine energy is shifting, so the container can hold some more. Okay. But come and hang out with me on Zoom, and it's going to be very, very powerful. If there's something that you have wanted in your life, but you have not manifested it, there's been some sort of weird block, bring it to the table and let's work on it. Let's quantum leap together. It does not have to take years. It doesn't have to take months to move through something in order to manifest something. That's what quantum leaping is it can happen literally right now. Bada bing, bada boom. So 4422, let's end this podcast here. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you're still with me, you are my people. I appreciate you so much. Let me know your thoughts. Send me a DM, post on your stories, share a comment, whatever it is. I would love to hear your thoughts because this feels so profound. We are at a pivotal moment right now in history for the collective, but also as individuals, a part of this collective, moving through these things that are going to allow us to shift into this next level. Because I can't carry this baggage with me if I actually want to step into the new earth energy, or whatever you want to call it, into this next chapter of life, into this next iteration of myself. That energy is not coming with me, period. And so if there's certain things coming up for you in your life that are triggering, or like, oh my God, I thought I already worked through this. Like, what is happening? This is from so many years ago. It's because you're at the consciousness now to be able to move through it in a way where it does not have a grip on you anymore. It's beautiful. You actually have the power, #healthy masculine, to ground into your truth and to release everything that is not that. I'm sending you so much love. You got this. We got this. And I will catch you on the next episode of Creator Codes. I love you guys so much.